Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. It is Thursday, November 2nd. It is November, so good morning, everyone. I am Lori Monaco, the Badass Buddha, coming to you from a very chilly Eastern Tennessee, Chuckey, Tennessee. And it is cold. It was had frost on the ground this morning, and the high is only supposed to be like the low 50s. But it was like 22 overnight. I mean, unseasonably cold, but apparently that is how the Northeast has been as well, unseasonably cold. So good morning to Evelyn. Evelyn was first. Evelyn's been first. Good morning to Gail. Good morning to my sister Leanne, and good morning to Desiree.
Buenos días, mi gente. Yes, I heard Iris sent me a thing. Iritza sent me something this morning. 28 high freezing something back home. Also frostbite in the yard. It's 50 here in Tampa, so it's pretty cold for Tampa. Low 48 tonight. So I guess that's going around like all across the board. Good morning, Miggy. Okay, Evelyn.
Yeah.
Evelyn.
I keep hearing that we're in for like a really abnormally snowy, cold, stormy, whatever winter, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. Good morning. Tiffany's in the house.
Tiffany.
Lots of people on this morning. Hey, and listen, if you're on, don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe. And we know that a lot of you do share. And I know that like Desiree was saying on Tuesday's show that she likes to share and tell people, yet nobody comes on, and we feel you on that one. Don't worry about that. You're here, and that's all that counts. And today, even though it is November and we're going to be getting into something different for November, well, actually not really. November is committing and recommitting again. You know, we're today's conversation is literally commit and recommit, like just how important are you in your life? You know, we're like, we were talking about the seeding and all that stuff. So we're going to talk about that today. And then we're going to go over the schedule for November because we actually have some alterations to make, and we'll discuss that in a little while. But good morning, everyone.
Yes, buenos dias. And I guess we can do the intention.
Yep. We could also talk about coffee if you want, right? We haven't done that. So let's set the intention. We haven't done that in a bit. And so the intention on Viva is to be intentional, be purposeful in your day. What are you going to do today? What are you going to accomplish today? How are you going to live your life today? It doesn't have to be something that you do specifically to check off your goals list. It could be just, I want to have a good day today. I want to be happy all day, no matter what comes out. That is my intention for today, is to be kind and happy and smiling.
And do it in gratitude. You know, we always complain when something doesn't go our way. When we stub our toe, we get angry because the thing was in the way, which has been there since you moved in. And I mean, be grateful for those moments, those disruption moments in your life, because they test your will. So if you set your intentions that today you're going to blah, 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 and then all of a sudden you fall, your heel breaks, something happens, and you get angry and you get upset, and you feel like your whole day went to shit. Be grateful. You know, to build high tolerance for pain, you got to have pain. To know that you got to slow your ass down, you're going to trip, you're going to fall, someone's going to cut you off, they're going to go like a driving Miss Daisy. They're all protection modes. They're all, listen, stop, sit down, breathe. Don't look at things intentionally grateful. Because though we want to smile all day, is it realistic? Is it? You know, so you...
Maybe.
Huh?
I said maybe.
There's going to be thoughts that pop up. And don't lie to yourself. Just the way that you can smile all day, you're going to be like, fuck. It's just like the balance of life, which is death. So you're going to learn to be grateful in every part of your day, whether you plan for it, whether it was a surprise, or whether you stub your toe. You can feel that. How many people can't feel that? Be grateful is what I'm saying. Just gratitude is deeper than just getting what you want and being grateful in it. How, that to me is unrealistic. Be grateful for the pain, came out stronger. Be grateful for those wounds, because that you teaches you to learn that you're perfect in your own imperfect way. Just cut the bullshit of everything's supposed to be so superficial, perfect and nice and polite and all that. You know what? Take the good with the bad and embrace it. Good morning. This is La Margarita coming to you from. Go ahead, badass.
I just want to try to get everybody up here and say thank you for being here.
It's wonderful. Hi, Lydia.
I'm
Welcome.
getting
I
there.
haven't seen you in a while.
All right.
And that's.
All right.
Where is
I
it?
didn't miss anybody. So we're going to talk about committing and recommitting. I know it sounds like we're being redundant, but you have to be when it's your life. It's like how much redundancy do we need in our lives to remind us how great we are and how much we need to really push forward. So if we need to be just to repeat it, then repeat it, because that's the only way we're going to get it into our heads. And so we need to ask you, the question is, how important is your life to you? Are you willing to commit and then recommit to what it is that you decided to do this year? When you look back at your year, I usually do a specific project with my my clients at the beginning of the year, and I'll give them the assignment towards the end of the year, and I'll say, I want you to start reflecting on your entire year, and it's a big assignment because you have to go month to month, and it's not just about like looking at what did I accomplish, because you'd be surprised what you don't remember. It's going month to month, looking at your date books, your calendars, your pictures in your phone, because your pictures jog your memory, emails maybe, just to get you to remember what was January of 2023 like, what was February of 2023 like, and then they take notes. And the goal is to see, like, if you hit the mark, what did you plan to do for the entire year, and were you successful at that? And sometimes people do write in journals. That's why we always make sure that whenever you're doing something, you date it. That's one thing I have to say that I do like about the phone. Sometimes I'll get an idea and I'll just put something in the notes in my phone or even reminders, but it timestamps it, so it's like, I know when I wrote this, and I know what I was feeling at that moment in time, and then it brings me back. It jogs my memory. But before we get to the beginning of the year, let's start looking at that now. So think back to what you decided that you were going to do for this year. And it doesn't have to be that you decided in January and you let it go. It's just throughout the year, every month that passed, what did you decide that you were going to do? Did you take that trip that you wanted to take? Did you visit the people and see the people that you wanted to see? Did you accomplish those mountains that you decided to climb, and go back and then ask yourself, did I step up in my life? Did I hold back? And don't guilt yourself about it. We don't want you to sit there and go, I didn't do this and I didn't get that done. We have tons of that stuff ourselves. The question is, why? Why didn't you? Maybe you lost interest in it. Maybe it was something that you thought you wanted in the beginning of the year, and then as time progressed, you're like, I wasn't really that into it. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you had a lack of commitment in yourself. It just means you changed.
You were aware and awake enough to know I still got time to change my avenue. That's a good one to bring up, Buddha. Go ahead, go on.
So just kind of look back, sit with yourself this weekend. It's not supposed to be terribly cold the rest of the weekend. So just take those moments, even if you have to go out by yourself, just take those moments and really review this year. And then ask yourself, what did I learn? What did I learn in general? What did I learn about myself? And did I accomplish those things? And if I didn't, why not? Why didn't I? What got in the way? Was it I that got in the way? Was there other extenuating circumstances that got in the way? And then say, what can I do differently? What did I learn from that experience? And what could I do differently? Is this still important to me? And empower yourself. Don't knock yourself down for not being, being and doing. Empower yourself for understanding that you are aware of it, that you are aware of it, you're taking accountability for it, that you've accepted it, and that you are ready to make bigger changes in your life. And that's where the recommit piece comes in. You committed earlier, and if you didn't do the things that you had hopefully intended to do, then recommit. It's not too late. I mean, if you say, God, I really haven't gone on that many, I wanted to go here and I wanted to go there. You know what? See what you could do now between the end of the year. And if it means that just booking a trip for next year, then that's good. Like pay attention to see if the airlines are going to be lower, for next year or whatever. But even if it's a day trip, say I haven't gotten out for every weekend. I wanted to go out and go hiking and go, then do it. Then just do it.
Do it. And that beautiful. Everything you said is absolutely correct. I do mine in quarters. I don't do month to month. I do quarters. From January to March, this is what I have to accomplish. And then like that, and like that, and like that. And that's what I've been doing for a couple of years now. And I didn't set the bar that high this year because I knew there was a lot of changes happening in my life. So you can't set yourself up for failure anyway, just because you want to do it and then you don't do it and then you're like, whatever. The one thing I didn't plan for this year that happened, like in July or August it started, I can't really pinpoint it, was some weight gain. And it was severe vitamin D deficiency with my hormones and lack of movement. And that I didn't plan for, but that's getting work done. But so that's what I did for me, because I learned that's what works for me, because I'm all over the place. I want to do everything at the same time. And you don't know how many people I would argue with, the old Margie, when they would tell me, slow down. Why are you trying to do everything at once? Do one thing at a time. And I didn't believe that. I felt that I could have done everything. And then all I realized after some sit down and self-talk is that they were correct in a way, because I did initiate everything I wanted, but I didn't complete them all because it was just too much. I was trying to do them all. So that's what worked for me. This time last year, I started a project and it hasn't ended. So that has carried through from January back again. Actually, last month made a year. But I see it happening before the end of the year. So that was my longest project, but it was frustrating, but I still believe that it was on God's time and not my time. If you believe in something bigger than you, then you can. We're too hard on ourselves. But little things like Badass Buddha, I think she completed what she set out to do. And I think you're still working on something closer to home, right?
Yeah, there's a few things that I put on the vision board that didn't pan out, that not that they didn't pan out, I just didn't do them.
Yes.
But the one of the things though that I have been struggling with, challenged by, when I was in my previous living environment, the space was really tight and cluttered, and every time I would clean up and declutter and get rid of stuff, it never seemed to be enough. Proof in the pudding, the fact that I thought I got rid of a lot of stuff, but then when I moved down here, I packed so much. I was like, where the hell did all this stuff come from? So the one thing that I'm doing that was not on my list, see, that's the thing. See, this wasn't on my list, is I'm purging as I'm unpacking. That's why it's been taking me it's like I'm in my second week of unpacking, because I'm not just unpacking, I am permanently getting rid of things and I'm organizing. It's like I want all the pens in one place. The anal retentive piece of me is coming out, but I'm not apologetic for it, because for me in my head, I need things to be in the same place so that I don't have to think about it. That's what I've learned about myself. I've learned about that myself over the years, but this is where I'm actually implementing it. Like if I'm going to grab something as silly as paper clips or safety pins or rubber bands, I want them in one location, and that's where they will be. So when I run out, I know I'm out. I got to get more. I don't want to have to be looking through things, and because it's a colossal waste of time. So that was one of the pieces that I said to myself was I'm tired of wasting time. I'm tired of wasting time on stuff that's so simple that it just takes that extra moment to just get it under control. And then that is a piece that I can control. I mean, I can't control my kids coming in and wrecking everything, but I can train them and say, listen, if you want something, this is where you'll find it. And so if we're out of it, then we don't have it and we need to replenish it instead of having your stuff. And the funny thing is that since I've been doing that, Charlotte's been doing that. Like she started to organize her room, which I thought was just the funniest thing, because this is another kid that was always very chaotic. So I'm looking forward to the fact that once I do this, it's going to allow me to clear my head more so that I can focus on the important things. So I'm looking at my vision board going, you know what, I didn't do this, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do this, but I am excited about 2024 because I'm actually going to allow myself to do that then, because this is still a work in progress. It's going to take me probably another 2 to 3 weeks to fully just organize everything and purge and make it more minimal. But I'm excited about that. So that wasn't on my, it flowed into, once things started to progress, that's when I started to see other things that had to be addressed. So but it's been such a huge weight lifted, even though I have a huge job ahead of me still. I don't mind doing it. Like, I'm excited to do it because it's going to be done, like, once and for all. Very happy about it.
Well, yeah. And half the time, where are we? We know what we want, but it's easier to let circumstances direct us. Oh, I wanted to do this, but I can't because this, or the kids this and the kids that. Remember, in order for us to be there for them, we got to be there for us. I could never stress that enough. Put your damn mask on before you put it on anyone else. Because we use our children as excuses as to why we're not doing things. We use our other people's circumstances as to reason why we can't develop our spirit into what it came into this world to be. Okay? We worry so much about our wrinkles. Oh my God, you cut all your long hair off. We worry about all this outside stuff where this body will die, but your spirit will move on. Worry about feeding that spirit so that you can offer kindness and gratitude and smile with grace at people. When Iris sent me that early this morning, I'm like, what the hell? Someone died because my phone went off so early. All I said was those poor homeless people who probably don't have the comforts that I had getting up from under my quilt because I had the window open. It was cold last night. To hear that it was 28 degrees out over there in Connecticut. So that isn't, like, I can't do nothing for them, but that was my first thought. So when you feed your spirit, you're really, really an umbrella for those around you. And that's what we got to focus. Don't focus. You know what? I did this beautiful video. If you're on my TikTok, and I think I put it on Instagram, of the Tampa River walk last night. I went walking and I captured the sunset. And let me tell you something, it was better than an orgasm. That 45-minute walk, because it took me 12 minutes. I have such an old iPhone. It took me 12 minutes to get the app, where you pay for your parking. And I was like, devil, you a liar. I'm going to find a motherfucking app my phone's going to accept. Because if you don't park there, they'll either tow your cars downtown Tampa or they give you a big ticket, right? So I'm like, oh my God. Oh my, this damn phone. I don't feel like trading. I have an iPhone 6 in case you're curious. And a lot of the apps won't come on. And I was like, oh my God, I got to find another parking, which was going to lead me later in. And then I didn't want to do that. And then I realized what was happening. I said, devil, get behind me. I'm walking today. And I looked and I finally found an app that downloaded 12 minutes later. So it took away from the time, because then that only gives me an hour to park there. My purpose was to walk an hour, but I wouldn't have made it back. But I did walk 50 minutes. And I'm walking, and then I get in the car and I call Byron. And he's like, I
Oh,
haven't talked to you so
Byron.
much. And he's like, oh, what a miracle you're calling me. I said, let me tell you, buddy, every time I walk, I think of you. Because he said, all you got to do, shorty, is walk. And so I told him it was better than an orgasm. And right now I'm kind of skeptical if I could even base them or balance them out, because it's been so long. But that's how good I felt. And I knew I was going to be sore. But you know how liberating it is to actually do something you want after the flesh has been telling you, oh no, your chest is still congested. Your shoulder blade still hurts. Do you have enough gas? All this kind of stuff. And I was like, fuck that. If I don't do for me, who's going to do for me? And let me tell you, it felt good. I'm walking right after the show today. And the thing is, it don't matter what it is you have to do. Even if you start it, the devil gets scared. See, I don't get up in the morning and sit up and put my feet on this floor until I'm giving gratitude for choosing me to have another day of life. And then from there, I have to choose the gratitude that I'm going to offer by doing good, by being appreciative. And that's how Satan stays behind me. So, when you do what you have to do it with love, do it with kindness, do it with passion for yourself. And that'll trickle down into your kids or your significant other or anyone else watching you. We were talking about this year, and this year when it started, I still had pending. I had 2 projects pending that were out of my control, but they were pending. And I would call the badass Buddha, like, can you believe this? And blah, blah. And there were moments where I was like, oh, and then I had to remember, oof, right? But in January, I said, I got to do this, do that. I did. I published my Understand Her journal, which I've been getting so much feedback on. I'm sold out. I don't even have a copy of my own. And I did make changes to the one you had, badass. And it was so beautiful. It's so beautiful and it's so simple. And so I got to get back to holding workshops on that. And then I created notebooks with all my art. And yesterday I got a call from California. I sent Denise some. Obviously, she shared and gave one of the notebooks to her cousin, which I've never met. And those who know me know I'm not sensitive. I don't get emotional like that unless I'm angry. Well, she called. Denise calls me, goes, you got a minute? I said, yeah. The girl comes on the phone and says, listen, Denise gave me a notebook that you sent. There it is. Thank you for having it on hand. And she goes,
because I'm organized. It's in my.
Yes, that's right. She said, thank you so much for that notebook. And I'm thinking, and I had to say, she goes, I have been writing. She said, I have almost given up. I've been in a dark place. There's been chaos in my family. She has like real bad diabetes and half of a foot. So Denise was her caregiver. So she goes, I have to tell you that every time I look at this notebook, she goes, it's halfway filled. And I was not doing that. Your notebook has motivated me so much to look forward. And I was like, well, which one do you have? And she goes, the lady with her, like she's sad. And I said, no, this is the lady, the naked truth. This is the leap of faith. This is her coming out of her darkness, naked, bearing all her truths, her scars, her pain, her suffering. But she still came out of the darkness, if you see. And she's sitting on a thin line of red fear, but you can't really see it. And her head is in her shoulders. But you see the Star of David, I call it, which means there's nothing we can do, no matter how sad or broken we may feel. And the back of it, it just says, sit in your peace and invite your power back to live unapologetically courageous. So I created, these are all my original art, and I created a bunch of these. These are the only ones I have. This one's called Hope. This is a woman in menopause. You see the blood, her pain, her body's changing. She's not familiar with it. But you see her here is the energy. No matter what this is
Those are
telling you.
those are the empty books, right? The ones that are
These are just the blank notebooks, 50
right.
pages. And this just says hope and resilience births freedom. So, and that's that one. This is one of my favorite paintings. And it's sold at a painting. And then this one just says be magically orgasmic. I don't know, for some reason, this looks thicker than the other ones.
It is thicker.
Right? Magically orgasmic. And then on the back, it just says la magia happens when you believe in yourself.
That's the truth.
That's when the magic happens. And this one is from the Kick-Ass Bitch of Menopause. This one's from the series, the Kick-Ass Bitch of Menopause, as well as this one. And then this one is from the series of The Power of Pussy. And this one, the painting, everybody thinks is creepy. I painted this in 2017. I think she's brilliant. Look at those lips.
Oh, the lips are fabulous. Sparkly, right?
They say that the eyes are the windows to our soul, right? So when I painted her, I didn't realize what I was painting. So why am I going to be looking out when I could be looking within? Look within, inquire within. This is what this means. It says, learn to love the world within. Look deep into yourself. And I write all these quotes, original quotes on the back. They're all mine. And those are the only ones I have. But what I'm saying is, so then I did the journal. I did about 12 of these notebooks. I'm so terrible at keeping my own shit. 12 of these. I still have some here. What else did I do? Because I'm fucking fabulous. What else did I do, Laura? In the midst of all
I can barely keep up with my own stuff.
I went to Spain. I walked from Portugal to Spain.
Oh, you're talking about in general. You're saying
oh no, not this year. Last year. This year is when I did all that. I worked at a nursing home, which was so, oh my God. So, I mean, because I do everything in quarters, January to March, April this, that. And that's how I do it. So this year's not even done yet. And I've been on hiatus of myself, from myself, since July. So I'm winding up that battery to get my ass moving, lighting them firecrackers up my ass. Why? Because we can only do for us. We can only make our dreams come true. I can share my dreams with the badass Buddha, but her hands are tied. It's up to me to really, I can say, oh my God, Laura, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? She's going to say, well, I think it's very doable. When do you plan on starting? And then I might be like, damn, why is she rushing me in my head? Because I just wanted to talk about it. See, don't talk about it. Be about it. And that's something I had to tell myself this last week. What the hell are you doing? So you have to be courageous. Look at the badass. She moved states away, drove her own ass to where she had to go back and forth, took her stuff there back and forth. Be about it. Be about yourself. Fall so deeply in love with yourself that when every time you open your eyes, you're flashing out beams so that others may see their path. Remember, it's not about competition. You got there where nobody has it easy. Everybody has to go through something. So stop worrying about how so-and-so got this, and that. Don't even worry about why you don't got what they got. What the fuck you want what they got? Worry about what has been stagnating you in your growth. Yeah. That's all you need to worry about. Not about who got what, or they got that and they see I'm struggling. Nobody was here. People who help you out of the kindness of their heart, you don't even know what they're going through. It's beyond that $20 they gave you. So you can only get yourself to the next level. You associate with people who are also working to get to the next level. They have nothing to do with what you're doing, but their energy, their vibration is about, let's get this done. And I don't mean by whatever means necessary, because that can become dangerous. What you got to do, how am I going to get from here to there without hurting myself? Because if I don't hurt myself, then I don't hurt anybody else. You got to take accountability for your actions, for how you do things, because it trickles down into other people. Other people's issues don't trickle down to you because you control what you accept and what you don't. So you got to think, how am I doing this so that it doesn't hinder anybody else? That's gratitude. That's being intentionally grateful for who you are, where you are, and what you're going to do with yourself.
I want to comment on something that
Go ahead.
Madeline wrote. This is what Madeline said. I think I'm struggling myself because I'm trying to clear the chaos in my head. And then Madeline writes, me, I'm the problem. So, Madeline, I want to say something to you. So I can't even tell you how many business courses I've taken with coaches and so on and so forth. And they always ask the same thing. What do you think the problem is in your business? And I've said, it's me. Like, I can sit there, I don't have enough subscribers. I don't have enough followers. I need a better SEO. I mean, I could say all these things, but in the end, it's me. I am the problem. And every time I would make that statement, they never were able to fully address, well, let's talk about this. Like, what is it, that's getting in the way, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting in the way. I'm getting in the way of me. So I want to bring something back up of that Gail wrote. And this is really important. I was thinking about this yesterday. Gail said, I decided to actually follow my intuition without question. The result was 4 books, 3 face-to-face presentations, new friends, massive growth, and a surprise shift in focus. I will go month by month as this was huge this year.
Amen.
Yeah, and this is coming from somebody who, I'm going to just use the term, Gail, because that's the common term, met with a challenge this year. I know you don't look at it this way, but met with a challenge this year that would have sidelined a lot of people with regards to her health, but yet it didn't, because she doesn't view it that way. And the important thing here is the word intuition. We really, really, as humans, do not go into that often.
Why?
We're always in our headspace. We're always in our cognitive functional space. But intuition, and it's funny that Gail said that, because I was outside yesterday doing stuff outside, and I'm just kind of observing things, like observing my environment, the animals, the trees. And I'm in my head, I'm going, everything works on intuition out here. Like everything, it's inborn. Nobody teaches these animals to do the things that they do. Nobody teaches the tree to do. It's part of its cycle. It just does it. And it just does it every year, and it does it beautifully. And there are factors that will affect it. So it doesn't have the ability to say, oh, well, I had a dry year, so I'm going to get my own water and I'll have more vibrant, beautiful leaves this year. But that's the difference. We do. We neglect our intuition. And how many times have we had that gut feeling where we're like, God, I really don't think this is a good idea. I don't want to do this. And then you did it anyway. And if it worked out, you kind of just said, well, I guess I was wrong. See, this is what happens. And I have to say that I believe that this is the Satan thing, because when we go against our intuition and then it works out, I think there's that false sense of, oh, okay, my intuition must be incorrect. And then we keep doing it. Then all of a sudden the real hardcore stuff comes in, and our gut is telling us not to do it, and we do it anyway, and we have a really bad situation that incurs, or that we incur a bad situation. So I really believe that we have to really stop. Like, so if you're looking at your year this weekend and you're looking at how it went, and sit down and feel it. Sit down and say, what is your gut telling you? What is your intuition telling you? If your intuition is telling you, you know what, even though I didn't do what I said I was going to do, this was still a really great year of growth. Guess what this year was then? It was a great year. Even if as long as your gut is saying, I'm in the right direction. I might have slowed, I might have sat for a while, but I'm in the right direction. Then go in that direction. But the interesting thing is that as we move, we've said this before, life is not easy, but it's simple. Les Brown says that life is not easy, but it's simple. But here's the rub, is that if we move in the direction that we're supposed to move, if we listen to ourselves and we pay attention and we practice mindfulness and we are aware and we are accepting and we are acknowledging and we are accountable, we will be guided in the direction that we need to go in, because we're following ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then things flow very easily because you're not meeting with resistance anymore. And this is a person who's I resisted so much over the last 3 years, and it really put me into not a horrible situation, but a miserable situation. And I was miserable, but my call, like I'm taking accountability to that. It's not people that made me miserable. I let myself get miserable because of outside sources, and they had nothing to do with me. Let them live their life. If they choose to live it that way, who the hell am I to say? I need to focus on me. But it took away my focus on me because I wanted that excuse.
Yeah,
I
because you didn't know who you were, really. That's why everybody else took precedence over your life. What people were doing, buying, being, who they were. And that's for all of us. When we don't take ourselves seriously, when we don't respect ourselves enough to realize this is what we need, this is what we don't need, this is where I want to be, then it's easier to judge other people. It's easier to be so judgmental and full of gossip and envy when you don't even know what's behind that story. And I think that happens to a lot of us. And you know, there's a time and place. If that didn't happen to you, how will you learn where you need to be right now? See, this, it's not failures, it's not mistakes, they're lessons. You were handed
yes.
tools. If you failed to recognize that lesson, into learning who the hell you are, and you kept doing the same shit, don't blame nobody. Nobody hurt you enough for you to sidetrack your mind. God has been showing you, I'm tripping you. I'm tripping you. So when you get up, you're a little wiser. Why do you keep getting up and you're not learning anything? And the thing is that you will continue to live a certain way until you get it, until the lesson is learned. So people are like, I can't believe I'm here again. Well, what the fuck? Did you not see the hole in the road the 5 other times you fell into it? You know, and there's a poem about that. I'm walking down the street, there's a hole in the ground. I see it, I walk, I fall in. Next day, same shit, 5 times fall in. Now that the hole's deeper, they can't get out. Finally gets out. I'm concising the poem. Next day he goes, I'm walking down the street, there's a hole in the ground. I see it, I know it is there. I walk around it. Look it up. It is a poem. I used to teach it at Career Resources. It was something that I needed people to realize back then, that nothing is going to change until you pick up and change. And the badass Buddha said, in the last 3 years, it has done a lot to us mentally, physically, emotionally. Our intuition was watered down because of all the fear mongers going around, all the realities of the fake realities of what was happening and all this kind of stuff. We're not going to get into that because I'm like on the other side of shit. And so I just want to share. I wrote something, and it's about like what the badass Buddha was talking about. It's like, it's called The Whisper of Wind. Lori, can you give me like 2 minutes?
Yes.
It's called The Whisper of Wind, and it says, does anyone feel it? The change in the wind, the pull of the soul tugging at the spirit. Does anyone feel it? You can write comments in it. I have felt anchored yet uprooted. So I'm anchored, like, okay, I'm here, I'm in this place, but I feel as though I need to be somewhere else. I am not unhappy, just unbalanced. I feel as though I am distant from self, yet up close and personal with my reality, but unable to pinpoint my location. In the past 3.5 months, I've shared moments of decisiveness and moments of total mind chaos. I have thrived. I felt a thrive of creativity and an influx of abundance, then complete moments of self-sabotage, lethargy, and weight gain. Like, what the fuck? How many rise each morning eager to be blank, yet choose to do blank? You fill that in. Excuse me. How many rise each day and walk in their truth? Sorry, this cough really has me. Okay, how many rise each day and lie to themselves? I will say you're not alone. It is, however, time to wake up. Something is in the wind. So stop, be still, look, listen, smell, feel, and touch. Everything about you. This is all about you. Take off the blinders, remove the earpods, let go of the phone, sit with yourself, be present, invite your power back. You will have days that you will sing joy. You will have days that you will confess that you are drowning. Embrace your true, real life moments as they are, but fleeting and temporary emotions that come to us to go through us. When we hold on to them, what is it really doing for us? It is keeping you from the reality of the universe. Let it go. My question to you, to the universe. I'm sorry, I don't know why this isn't working out for me. My question to you, to the universe, right? This isn't my laptop, so I'm having problems. Is anyone out there courageous enough to admit to self that something, a shift, a change, a disruption in the universe is about to happen? If you are, good. Live completely and honestly on purpose in your truth. Fall and rise and be kind. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? The whisper in the wind. That's it.
You have
I'm
got
sorry if I got like it. This is Stephanie's laptop, so I couldn't scroll. It kept taking me back to the top. So I
you've got to
apologize. I
post
really
that.
like
You've got to write it out and post it on the Viva page and on your regular pages. That was really, really good. And I think that that really described like a lot of what I was feeling this year too.
Yeah. And it's called the whisper in the wind. Every time you step outside, stop rushing. Stay still. Feel it. You can hear it. When I was in Connecticut this summer, the crickets felt like they were in the room with me. They were cricketing all hours of the day, which to me, I thought that was abnormal. I don't remember crickets singing so loud like they were at dark at 3 a.m. They were doing it at 10 a.m. So I just felt like there's something in the air. So that's how we got to get closer to God to better have a solid footing on ourselves. Because we're so worried about everything and everyone that we forget that unless we are, let me tell you something. I'm that warrior. I am that gladiator that will go out and be like, what's up? But then I said, see, I believe in the spiritual warfare. And I was like, this devil trying to keep me fat so I can't be fighting in this war. And I'm participating in the negative slide in my life. And I was like, no mas, no mas, no mas. So let me tell you something. Be the best you. You know who you are. The badass Buddha and I told you we've confessed all our miseries, our downfalls, because there's no shame in falling. And there's no shame in admitting I didn't want to see the truth. I didn't want to participate in activating the good parts of me. I like being that shallow, pathetic, and weak victim. When we say this, it's not for anything other than we can share most of where other people have been or are. But we're also here to tell you that that place is temporary. That was just, you know what? Look at it as what is it that when you go somewhere and you work but you don't get paid?
Volunteer or internship.
Internship. Look at that pathetic moment in your life when you chose to stay with somebody because you can fix them as just an internship because you didn't get paid for it. You feel like you've lost time, but the wisdom that you gained from that sorrow, it's better than a 7-figure a year job.
I've been
Because that will
interning way
last
too
you to
many
the,
years of my life.
you know, but you have to own it. Why was I here? I can't believe I trusted him and he hurt me. No, he didn't hurt you. You allowed him to
Yeah.
hurt you by staying somewhere where you know you weren't being respected, but you chose to ignore it because I love him. So, again, accountability. Where was your role? What was your role? You're always the lead actress in your fucking dramas. And unless you own up to it, you're not going to acquire the tools that are laying at your feet, because why give them to you? You're not going to know what to do with them. So love yourself so much that every time you open your eyes, you're that flashlight, you're that lighthouse. Sometimes we feel alone, but we're not. When you're the lighthouse, you can't see the light shining upon you, because you are used that your assignment is to shine onto other people. And when you have been chosen for such a role in this world, the enemy's going to try to drown out that light, because you're going to bring a lot of people into awareness of their gifts, of their bounties, of their blessings. So you're going to suffer more than the next person, because being a chosen one, you are always going to be tripped and shit's going to break and you're going to feel this. Your energy's going to be taken for a minute until you wake up and say, oh, hell no, motherfucker, that's mine. But that has to be you. So be that lighthouse. You're never alone, but you have to accept your title. And when you accept that title, that you are chosen, no matter if you're the lighthouse or if you're the one in the spotlight, when you accept who you are for what you are, where you are, nobody can really knock you down.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. It doesn't matter what anybody says, and I think that's the part. My big take for this year, when I'm in my committing and recommitting and reviewing what I'm doing or what I've done, my big thing has been letting go. And letting go was the move. Like, the move has allowed me to really let go of all the crap that I was allowing myself to stay in for the last, I would say 7 years, but especially the last 3 years, where it became excruciating, and it's not that I don't care about the other players that I kind of left behind. It's more like, you know what? They're grown people with their own decisions.
Yes.
And I'm not in charge of any of those individuals. It's not up to me to decide for them. And if they rely on me, then I have to live my life the way I want to live it. And it's been very interesting. Like, I'm listening more, even more than I was. And I hear the same conversations from the people that I'm speaking to that I left up there. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what you have to say. Like, I don't care your opinion on stuff, because it's not mine. And I get to freely choose what I decide to do, and you have no say so in it. And it doesn't interest me whatsoever. And I think I struggle with that because it seems very harsh, sometimes, but realistically, it's not saying that I don't love or care for these individuals. It's just that it's like, I don't want to play in that game anymore. Like, I don't want to, I want to get into a new playing field with other players that are like me, that are not, not worrying about it. It's interesting. I have a client that talks about, he let go of complaining about stuff. He's like, I just realized it was a colossal waste of time to complain about things.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, it's not that I don't have those moments. It's not that I don't feel like frustrated and want to complain about something. He's like, but I have really capped it to a very narrow amount of time. He's like, because if I cannot create solutions, there's no point in having the conversation. And it's interesting because what I was doing when I was up north was finding myself constantly complaining about stuff and talking about stuff and rehashing stuff, which is so not the person I wanted to be. And since I've been here, every day if I catch myself doing it, I'm like, okay, Make it short, make it sweet, and don't do it again for the rest of the day. And a couple of things came up over the last couple of days, conversations that I've had. And normally I would have went back and like shared it with my daughter, shared it with my sister. And I was like, you know what? I don't even care. Like, I don't even want to have the conversation because it doesn't matter what they said. It doesn't matter what they had because I don't care. It's I'm in charge of me and you do you. Leave me out of it.
You know, I learned to respect people who cry. And I think most of it was because I didn't cry from the age of 6 until my mom died when I was 52. And I really hated people crying in front of me. And I would like tell them, why the hell are you crying? Go over there with that. Why are you crying over something like that? Like people who were overstimulated and sensitive, I just couldn't. And I don't think I still can. But then I've learned that that's who they are. As long as they're not projecting their sentiments or expecting me to cry because of something that happened the way they're crying, then we're fine. I'm there. But yeah, I was like, I was very protective of my boundaries, and my boundaries weren't healthy. Like I didn't accept people complaining. I didn't accept people crying over anything. I didn't accept people who were always frightened and filled with anxiety. I'm like, figure out what's going on with you that makes you so afraid of everything. So I've always been that. I just didn't teach it right. I was very in your face. But Catherine, you said there's no shame of falling and keep falling into the hole. Absolutely not. That's the whole moral of the story. You went 5 times around and you had trained your brain that that's all you were capable of achieving. And then when you finally fell the last time and you dug yourself out of the deeper hole from the first time, that just exemplified your courage, your strength, your desire to take a different route. That's what that.
Well, and that's the key.
Is.
That's the key. There's nothing wrong with falling in the hole over and over again, but at some
until
point,
you learn your lesson, yeah,
you've got to move out of the way. You've got to say, "Oh, wait a minute, there's a hole there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fall
no
into
mas,
it."
No mas, and that's what it is. It's not about falling. God, you talk to my son. He would always tell a story how I was always embarrassing to him because me and the floor were best friends, whether it was concrete or wood. I was always falling down, and then I would crack up. Because people would be, I would crack up like, here I go again. Like it was just such a, and my son, one day I fell walking to Seaside. I think it was the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And I'm over by where Old Marina is, by the train tracks, crossing over to where the jerk hut is or something like that. Anyway, I fell right at the corner and all the cars coming at it. And he was so embarrassed and I'm cracking up. I'm like, get over it. Lighten up. Life is too short for that shit. But, yeah, so I have no problems. I still fall. I just like, I feel the spirits be pushing me. I'm like, demon, get out my way, because I be knocking into walls. I don't even realize how that happened. But yes, that's Lydia, absolutely. I love being at airports. I actually wrote a thing about being at airports and how I love people watching, and you see all kinds of people. But I think to sit there and people watch is the best teacher as well of how not to be and how to be. I mean, life lessons are happening every day around us. If you get out of your own head, if you remove yourself from your own problems or the problems you think are there because you created them with your nervousness or your fear, and you just watch people, you can learn so much. Go somewhere, sit with your ass by yourself, get a tea, get a coffee, don't get a soda, and just watch people and listen. Get out of your own head. There's so many people that you don't have to meet that will teach you a lifetime lessons. Being courteous, you'll see people holding doors, you'll see people not holding doors, and it's such a great lesson in life. And that's we don't do that enough. And Gail, you're absolutely right. You are the writer, director, set designer, casting crew, hype man, and the lead in your own dramas. And you know what? Love yourself through the chaos. That's what the Badass Buddha and I have learned through these 3 years, that we're not going to always feel good. We're not going to always be happy. We're going to be hurt. There's going to be memories that are evoked over a smell, a scene, a story, a word. And we're going to have to sit and feel it until it bids adieu. We're not always going to be happy. We're not always happy. We're not always straightforward. We're confused sometimes. We we hold back on a decision because we want to second guess ourselves, because that's what it is being human. And if you can admit that truth to yourself, then you're walking in your truth. I'm not going to always tell you I'm happy, 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 because I can be. But you know what? Sometimes I'm lost in my own head. I miss my mother. I miss my father. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff, and my husband is fully present in front of me. So you know what? There's not going to be always times where I want to be like, hey, what's up? Let's do this. I don't want to talk on the phone. Very rarely. This past couple months, I've barely been having long conversations on the phone. Pick your poison, what you can deal with. Start with the worst and then trickle it down. People want to start with the less effective. No, start with the fucking worst. Those granny panties with holes in it, let them go. Start with the worst and work your way up to what you can handle as you're seeing. As the light is coming in, it's fading away, all that stuff. But if it's the little things, they're not going to come back as quickly as the big things that you've been avoiding. And that's how you reconnect with yourself. Get naked, stand in front of the mirror, look at all the perfect imperfections of who you are. Like someone said the other day, what do you do? What's your job? And I read this meme and I used it and it was perfect. It said, oh, I had 2 kids and I'm their leader. The fuck, what do I do? Why everybody asks you that question like it's important? Oh, what do you do? What are you working? I'm trying to be happy. But what's your favorite, what's the most important thing you do? To laugh? To what? To laugh a lot. Why? Because we need that. So don't let no one label you. But least of all, don't label yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable enough. People don't want me. I'm not pretty enough. I got a stomach. My tits are hanging. I'm getting a double chin. Who gives a fuck? Walk in your light.
My tits are hanging.
So that's what you got to do. I recognize my weight gain. The weight gain is okay, but we can lose it. We can lose it. There's gonna be times, I never liked those people that stressed out and lost weight. Like, what the fuck?
I like what Gail wrote. She says, I do not identify with what I do. I identify with who I am.
Exactly. Yeah. I know when people ask me that, I'm like, I do a lot of things. I'm a traveling magician. Like, I don't know.
But it's who you are, because you know what? Let's reiterate something on this. That is about your truth. Otherwise, you're living lies, because a lot of people go by the I am identifying by what I do. Oh, I do this, and I do that, and I have this. And in a lot of those people it's just show. It's just a facade. In the end, it's like, what are you left with? What is your actual, like I view my life and say, I of course I would love to have all those things. I would love to have a lot of financial freedom and independence, because there's so many people that I want to help, and there's so many things that I want to do. So that part right is there. But for me, one of the most important things is my relationship with my children, my relationship with those that are very close to me, because I know who I am, and I know that they can come to me if they need to come to me. I don't expect my kids or those closest to me to always have to depend on me. I want to set them up to where they know that they can always talk to me about anything. I will always have their back. I'm in their corner. And that to me is important. And that's interesting, because this is what's been transpiring since I've come down here. Like, we're literally having dinners together every night, and we didn't have that. And it's, of course I'm to blame for that over the last few years, but there was always a challenge with it, truly. Like, there was always this weirdness. And now it's like everybody has a free space. We chat. Nobody has their phone at the table. We're all talking.
Beautiful.
And it's great. And it is so great. And I'm so happy that we're in that space together like that, because that's what I want. That to me that's who I am. Who I am is especially my 19-year-old, knowing that she can tell me anything, even if it's uncomfortable for her, even if it's uncomfortable for me, but she can tell me anything, because I will listen, and I will not generate an opinion. I will listen. And if she wants my opinion, I will give it. But it's one of those things where I could just explain through experience, and say, you have to make the decision. And so I love that, Gail. That is very true. It's
That's right. You know how
identifying
many
who you
people
are.
ask that? You're right. It's like, I am who I am. I don't know. I do a lot of stuff. And people are like, well, you gotta, no, I don't. So that's why I said, I came up with that, 2.5 years ago. I am a traveling magician, because anywhere I go, I can stand up and talk the shit out of anyone. So I can be public speaking anywhere. I can write and produce books anywhere I'm at in this world. And I can pick up a paintbrush and create art anywhere I'm at. And I can be fabulously gorgeous, darling, everywhere, no matter. Because, when I'm out, I'm out. But when I'm home, I look homeless. Those are my two styles. And I'm comfortable in both.
When I'm home, I
I
look
don't
home.
need to satisfy your curiosity by putting a label on myself. You know what? So I do many things. I'm capable of doing many things and coming out on top of whatever it is I got to go through. Sometimes I like to stay on the bottom. Catherine, I read you. You're getting ready for rehab, 2 weeks over wine, trauma, and grief. That's right. You know what? Sometimes we need to be at ground level just to see how everything is. You're at ground level. So that when you look up,
And
and if
apparently
everybody,
you've been at ground level quite a bit in your lifetime.
who?
You said used to fall a lot.
Yeah. But what happens is, read that book by
I've
TD
fallen
Jakes.
and I can't get up.
But it's true. You know what? And I like being at ground level sometimes, because it brings me down to my knees. And it makes me see what really is going on and appreciate what I do have. Half the time, we're so busy wanting this, trying to get to that, acquire this. I can't let this go because it was bought for me back in 2007. What happens is, everything is still outside of you. Be grateful you get up every morning, that you can open your eyes and see where the edge of the bed is, and then you can get up and walk to the bathroom and wipe your ass when you're done. How many people would wish just for that? And I can't stress that enough. And maybe I stress this particular thing because my husband was paralyzed 6 years before that paralyzation took his last breath. But what it teaches you is, be grateful and appreciative for what you have, not for what the fuck you want. Our want is what's taking away our humbleness, Gail. Absolutely. Our want is what's taking us down a different path spiritually. What are you willing to sacrifice to get money, to get notoriety? Those are questions you got to ask. First of all, before you can even know what it is you want to achieve, you have to know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Who
That's
are
true.
you? Do you deserve this? Is this thing that you want so bad gonna bring you blessings, or is it gonna bring you hell? So be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it and you're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
So that's what you got to look at. And before we go, Gail was saying something. Gail, I think you would appreciate this. I showed this to the badass. This is my new art. And I wanted to paint something. I was like, and I was holding it, and then I figured it out. But this is my pencil, and it says my sword, right? My sword. And then here's the paper, and it says my battlefield, my peace. Because my sword, my sword is his word. The blessings we have didn't come because we worked hard for it. We're all blessed. We just don't all use the talents that we are gifted from above. So don't complain. So that's what it is. I hope you appreciate that, Gail, because this is just so simple, but to me it's so powerful. Because before, where my sword was actually a machete and a metal bat knocking on anybody's door that fucked up, right? Now it's my pen and my pencil. It is my sword, because my words on this paper is my battlefield. That's why it's in red. And once I finish writing my grief, my sorrow, my pain, my disappointments, guess what? It brings me peace, because it's no longer within me. It's out on the paper. So try that. Try that, Catherine. Try that.
Okay, we are at the end and we want to go over something with all of you because Gladiator Guru and I were talking. And so this month is about committing and recommitting. And this is what these are the topics that we were planning to talk about for November. We're revisiting I want. What is it that you want in your life? I can. So we're talking about I want is what's possible. I can, your capabilities. I am unstoppable, your beliefs. I'm conquering your behaviors and habits. And we were going to do part one, part two, per week, but actually we're going to make some changes because Gladiator Guru and I would actually like to take off a couple of weeks from the show. We've never done this. We're in our fourth season and ending our third year, getting ready to begin our fourth year. And we just thought, just because it'd be nice for us to clear some space, and maybe you'll miss us for a couple of weeks too. But so what we're going to do is starting next week, we're going to do I want on Tuesday, I can on Thursday. And then the following week, we're going to do I am unstoppable on Tuesday and I am conquering on Thursday. And then the last 2 weeks will end. And then we'll come back for the December 5th show. So we're hoping that all of you do come on for the next 2 weeks because it's going to be jam packed with stuff. I really don't want to redo the videos, like not the videos, but the way it's written on there, but I might have to anyway. So that we cancel out the other 2 shows or 4 shows really. But we're going to be wishing you a happy Thanksgiving on our last show, which would be, I think it's November 20, let me see, November 14th. Is that right? Let me see. Nope, November 21st, I think is our last show. No, 16th, something. Anyway,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. But anyway, so we want to thank everybody for coming on today. And you want any last minute thing, Gladiator Guru, before we go?
I'm just, Catherine wrote something and Madeline said something on Tuesday. And let me tell you, we were all given the assignment to write, to be, scribes. Back in the people from the actual writing of the Bible, the Old Testaments, they were selected scribe members. But I think the gift of writing comes with all of us. And the beauty is like the badass Buddha with her badass story, which 4 should be being announced, I guess, after the new year, is that she works with authors. So people don't believe they can write because of punctuation, because of grammar. No, there's people who will review your stuff and correct that. You just got to write your story. And a lot of people hold back from that because they don't believe they can write well enough for someone to understand. Where there's people out here that will not only understand you, talk it through to you so that you can understand that if you shift this word here, change this line down here, change the paragraph, it works. We're all writers. And we all can have a chance to have a published piece. So think about that. Think about the story. And plus, who gives a shit if you put a period where a comma and vice versa belongs? It's your story. And if you're just writing your story, and you need to just set it free on paper, then do just that. Set it free on paper. Go to Five Below. Look at this is a Five Below notebook. I love it. I only write on an unlined paper, right? This is a Five Below notebook. It's too small for me, but I was using it while I was in Connecticut. And look at this. These are my notes. I longhand write everything. So go and go get a notebook at Five Below, big or small, or order one from me if you like this to carry in your purse. The thing is, write, because you're relieving and you're releasing and you're just taking full authority of your life.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming on. We will see you next week on Tuesday for I Want. And please remember, take this time between today and Tuesday's show to sit with yourself and really just review your year and see what you've committed to and what you feel that you didn't commit to, then you need to recommit. We still have 2 more months left. So anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Have a great weekend. From the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And I don't know where Gail meant where you are in a time warp, but Yes, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.